G'day everybody, welcome to another episode of Automotive Carnage. In today's episode, we get started on our 1985 Daihatsu Rocky farm truck, and let's see if we can get this old girl running. G'day everybody, my name's DJ and thank you so much for joining us on this episode. Today, as I said, we are going to be working on our 1985 Daihatsu Rocky. We picked this thing up for about 600 bucks and I was told it wasn't running or driving. It's all complete, it's all there. The previous owner has spent quite a bit of money on trying to get it to run, so now we've taken over the torch, as it were, and see if we can have a crack at getting this thing running. If we can, that'll be fantastic, because it'll be absolutely perfect here on the farm for carting around hay bales, farm equipment and all sorts of that kind of stuff. She's a proper four-wheel drive. From what I've heard, these are quite stout little four-wheel drives. So yeah, let's have a look around here and check out all the not so nice things going on. Well, now what can I tell you about our little Daihatsu Rocky here? Well, not a lot. I can tell you that it doesn't run, I can tell you that windscreen is smashed, and I can tell you that that front tire is not meant to look like that. So let's kind of go around. I haven't actually had a decent look at this vehicle and looked through it to see what it is I've actually brought here. But yeah, obviously we're going to need to fix up the tire. They all have road tires on them, which we do want to change over for some muddies, or even just some all-terrains, if we can get this thing to run. Inside here, looking a bit worse for wear, but you know, considering she's a 1985, it's not too bad. If we get it running again, we will need a new windscreen. I do plan to use this vehicle to teach my kids how to drive in a manual, so that's definitely not going to fly safety-wise. Glove box here has seen better days. Not too many trinkets going on around here. Pretty sure that's meant to be attached up there somewhere, but we'll get to that. What else have we got in here? Yep, Fieldmeister, okay. Engine vacuum hose diagram. Oh my gosh, I love hoses, vacuum lines. They are the best to work with. Yeah, not too much to report here. This must be the old fuel pump. I know that the previous owner, a good friend of mine, Maddie, he did end up replacing that, trying to get this old girl to run. So, you know, wind up windows. She's pretty Spartan. I believe that this rear canopy can actually come off, which would be kind of cool. But yeah, lovely lock here on the rear door. Factory fitted, of course. Oh, look, we've got a spare rim and wheel. Mad, cool. And a headlight that definitely does not go with this car. Oh gosh, what have I brought here? You know, all the paneling needs to be redone. That's concerning. Why is there such a big wiring loom in here? Oh, that's where that went. That's the PCM for my Barra engine. And the wiring loom. Oh man, that's so good. I thought I'd thrown that out. Excellent. I wonder where that went. Oh, and the pedal. Fantastic. So if we want to do a Barra conversion, we've got everything that we need. That's really handy. Actually, we might send that off to go get that chipped by Bill Hooton. He does a really great job of taking these and reflashing them so that you can put them into any vehicle you want without all the security systems and crap. This is obviously our old carb. I'm going to hazard a guess. Alrighty. Okay, we can use that for a reference point. So yeah, it does have a brand new, or at least a reconditioned carb on it now. We'll check that out shortly. Some leads here, so I guess that's the old leads inside. Although they don't look too bad. Interesting. Alright. What else we got going on here? Spark plugs, we've got fuel filters. Oh man. Definitely had a good crack at trying to get this running. Oh, that's cool. The rear seats actually fold all the way through. In fact, there is rear seats, so that's really cool. Very, very handy. Okay, so that's the back of the old bus. Driver's side, have we got anything interesting to report in here? Do we have a window? We have a window! Fantastic. At least that one's not smashed. We have a key. That's going to make everything a bit easier. Fantastic. Yep. Okay, so there you go. That is my 1985 Daihatsu Rocky. Rightio. Let's get to the party end here, where everything we are focusing on today is going to be happening. So what we have here is a Toyota 3Y 2-litre engine. Yep, that's what I can tell you. So as I said before, we have new leads, we've got a new dizzy cap, we'll pop that off, we'll make sure we've got a new rotor in there. We've got a new fuel pump down there. We come under the air cleaner here, which we'll take off, and let's just take that off now. So yeah, under the air cleaner we have a brand new reconditioned carb in there as well. So first point of attack, fuel air spark. Well, we're going to have no spark because we've got no battery, so we need to find a working battery to pop in here, and then let's just see if we have lights on the dash and go from there pretty much. Yeah, then we'll check if we've got a good spark, then we'll check if we've got fuel. Yeah, let's just go through the motions and see. Wow, this thing even has aircon. What a beast. That's cool. Oh, but it's not connected, so that's not good. Anyway, yeah, let's find ourselves a battery, and let's see if we even have reds on the dash. Okay, so we've gone and nicked the battery that's been sitting in the little Corolla 2 hatchback for a very long time and never been used. It's a good size to fit in here. It might be a bit tall, but for today's purpose, hopefully it has enough juice still left in it. As I said, it's never been used. I think I used it once to see if the pop-out headlights work on the little Corolla 2. Anyway, I digress. Let's hook up some power. Actually, that key's turned off. Yep, and see if anything's going to catch on fire. So, look, we got all this janky wiring going on this coil here. Might be smart to just take that off first. Yeah, I'm not too sure why or what they were thinking when trying to hotwire this coil, but they've put a positive feed from the battery directly to the positive on the coil, and then a negative feed directly from the negative on the coil to the negative on the battery. And I like Matty. Matty's a good bloke, but he's also a diesel mechanic. So if you're watching this, Matty, sorry dude, but that's pretty much what your main issue is going to be, is the way you hotwire this. Anyway, we're all learning new skills as we are, as you do. So I'm going to stop rambling, we'll get these wires off, and then we'll see if there's any fires. There we go, that got rid of the janky hot wiring going to the coil. I do have a fuse line here that's going into a reader. Oh, so that must be for the spotties at the front, so that can stay on for now. Okay, positive is on tight. Let's grab our negative. Please don't catch on fire. Oh. Something came to life. I can hear some little relays clicking or something. Right. That's on tight. Well, you know what? This engine's so complete. I reckon we'll just crank it and see what happens. See if it even turns over. Check out oil first. Is it jing? Ah, there it is down there. Ooh. That's not good. That smells like there's fuel in the sump. Oh well, we'll deal with that later. Let's crank it. Okay. That's fantastic news. That's a really healthy crank. Next thing I want to do is I want to pull a plug out and see if we've got decent spark on there. Just before we do that, let's put some brake cleaner in here and see if it even fires. That is a very healthy crank. Take two. Okay, I don't think we have any spark. Now, when I brought this off Matty, he did say that spark was his issue. Well, doesn't help that they're completely carboned up. They don't look that old, but yeah, the heads are just black. So we'll give it a quick wire brush, and then see if we can get some sort of spark out of it. Okay, that has cleaned a lot of the carbon off there. Definitely don't think these plugs are that old. Where can I put that to? We will see it. Well, you won't be able to see it, but I'll be able to see it, hopefully. But the only thing he hasn't replaced in here is the coil. I wonder if it is just that. There we go, I can see it here. And that is dead as a dodo. So we have no spark. Right. Let's start diagnosing that. All right, here's where we're at. The coil is out. We've bench tested that. We'll get to that shortly. We've just taken the points out, given them a little bit of a clean. They are operating, no dramas there. We come over this way. Here's our coil. It's a Lucas item, so that doesn't fill me with much confidence. But searching the part number on the bottom, this is actually a GMH. So this is a Holden part. And you search that number there, and it always comes back to a V8 GTS. So we have a Holden GTS coil in our little Daihatsu, which is quite amusing. But primary coil is testing at 1.5 ohms, which is, yeah, that's all right. So yeah, we'll whack that back in, give the terminals a clean, we'll give the ballast resistor a bit of a clean, we'll slap all that back into the car, and yeah, see if we've got any spark. Okay, so we've spent a bit of time playing around with this ignition system, and we've got a bit of redneck debauchery going on here. And pretty much the first thing I'm going to show you, or at least try to explain anyway, is that our coil is currently receiving 12 volts from the ignition. So, you know, again, we test negative to the battery, to the positive post on our coil. And we can see we've got 11.48 volts. Considering the battery's at 12, just over 12, that's not too bad. I mean, it's obviously low, but enough to get it cranking. So then we eliminate the negative side. So what we've got going on here is we've got a spark plug connected directly to the coil, and we've completely bypassed the points. So our little hot wire here, which is now our ground wire, is connected to the negative on the coil. And what should happen is as I strike this, it should make the coil, well, activate the coil, discharge the power directly to our spark plug. We should get a spark. Absolutely nothing. There is no life in that coil whatsoever. We know we've got the hot side. Yeah, there's nothing. So I need to go into town. I need to go find ourselves another coil, because every car I've got here is all too modern, has fancy dancy coils on it, none of the old cylinder style. So I'm going to shoot into town and see what I can find. Here we go, people. New day, new coil, same old problems. Car still won't start. So yesterday I shot down to my local auto parts store, which is still a good hour journey away from where I live here on the farm. Got myself a brand new coil, nice new NGK one. Why put it all in here? And now we're at the point where let's hook up this battery up and see if that actually does solve our problem or not. So I'll bring that camera over. You keep an eye on the points for me, see if we've got a spark, and I'll crank the engine and we'll see what happens. If this doesn't work, then I'm going to be a bit stumped how to get some more spark, because it's pretty old school and basic, this engine, good old basic Toyota. So yeah, if this doesn't work, I'm a little bit lost as to what else we can do. So anyway, let's get a view on these points. Okay, battery's connected, coil's connected. You keep an eye on down here and see if there's any spark. Ignition. Well, if I saw that, I'm sure you guys did. We now have spark in the points. That's absolutely fantastic. Okay, that will do. So we're just going to adjust these points. We're going to put them to about 15 thou, because it's only a little 4-cylinder. And let's face it, it's definitely not a performance engine by any stretch of the imagination. So yeah, 15 thou is going to be good. And I have to say at this point too, a massive shout out to Peter Anderson and Graham from XAcoupeguy. They've been helping me troubleshoot my spark issue, and it's because of Peter Anderson, who recommended we just set these at about 15 thou and go from there. All right, that's on the high point. Oh gosh, I lost that feeling out. Let's just double check. That's 15 thou. A little bit over, but again, it's only a 4-cylinder and is not a performance engine by any stretch of the imagination. So that will do us nicely. All right, let's check the spark on that. That is looking healthy. Okay, so we now have spark again, which is absolutely fantastic. So let's go about rebuilding our distributor here, and then we'll introduce a little bit of artificial fuel, i.e. brake cleaner, down the carburetor, and see if this thing will fire now. All our leads plugged in. Coil needs to be bolted down a bit better anyway. Let's put some fuel in this thing. Give it a nice big drink. Alrighty. Here we go. Ugh. That starter motor is not happy. Alright, that fired. Let's check our firing order. That is really good progress. We now have a decent spark. So next what we need to work on is our fuel system. Now there is definitely some old varnish hanging around this engine. You can just smell it. So what I want to do is I want to lift the car up, and hopefully there's a nice simple drain bung at the bottom of the fuel tank. Let's drain all the crappy old fuel out. And then puts obviously 20 litres of fresh fuel in here. And then we'll disconnect our fuel pump at the front here and just make sure that is actually pumping fuel up to itself. Now, being that that is a brand new pump, I see no reason why it shouldn't fail, but then hey, weirder things have happened before. So that's where we're up to now. Let's lift it up, dump the fuel, check the fuel pump, make sure it's feeding to the carby, and then that should be it. We should have a running, I won't say driving, we should have a running old engine. So let's get up in the air. Now the other great thing about getting this up in the air is we can finally get underneath it and give it a good look over and see what's going on. So we've got swivel hubs at the front. I did not know that. That's really cool. So they're a bit leaky, so might have to replace those in the future. Obviously a lot of the rubbers, well, that's not too bad actually. Rubbers aren't too bad. Lots of grease joints I gotta come back and check out. Exhaust looks okay. You know, all these uni joints, they're probably gonna need to be greased up as well. Leaf spring at the front. Something's been wrapped around that transfer case there, causing a bit of damage. Again, more grease points. Oh yeah, bit of a leak on the back of the transfer case. Alright, coming down to our little diff at the back here. We don't have an LSD. That's spinning backwards, and that's not spinning at all. That's a little disconcerting. What happens if we spin this forwards? Oh, there we go. Okay, so that is all still sort of connected. Alright, definitely gonna check the oil in there. Might have a bit of a hole in the seam there. All in all though, can't see too much going on. Oh, I'm fantastic. We've got a drain bung right at the bottom of our fuel tank. Right, going from this side. Nah, I can't see too much going on in here. Ooh, I wonder what that is. Something to do with the brakes. Okay, so that looks alright. I'm happy with what's going on under here. Obviously just a lot of things, that rubbers and that need to be replaced, but hey, it's a farm hack, so who cares. Let's get this out, drain this old fuel, and then fill it up with some fresh stuff. Now, I wish you guys could smell this right now. It is rife, and I didn't get too much in my armpit, which was nice, and hopefully my bucket's big enough. I can't do and check that beforehand. Oh, that's bad. Okay, now this is interesting. I'm assuming this will be the inline, as it has the filter on it. That then traces around to the top of our fuel pump. But then what we've got is we've got another one, which must be our return, but that's coming out of the top of the pump as well. And then we have a line here, which feeds us around our first blue hose here into a carburetor. So we've still got stale fuel in the line, so we'll disconnect our fuel over here. And let's just try and pump out some of that stale fuel, and that will also confirm whether that's working or not. Well, we've got some good flow there. Let's go a little bit more, because that's still very orange fuel, very yellow fuel that's coming out of there. But also I don't want to beat on that starter too much, because it's already starting to fail. Ooh, yeah, I can smell something burning. All right, let's hook that back up and let's see what happens. Obviously, I have no faith in this blue line, but it's kind of what I have available here. Without going and nicking fuel line from another car, it will have to do for now. Okay, here we go. Our fuel line is connected back up. We know we have flow to it. Whether it's going to be strong enough, I don't know. Let's give us a kick in the guts with a bit of actual aero start this time. Let's see what happens. I think this hose is letting us down. It is too thick in diameter and it's not keeping the pressure going. Let's eliminate it as a problem anyway. As we do that, we'll just make sure that see if we've got how much of the stale fuel we've cleared out of the line. So let's do that first. That is definitely wet though, which is a good sign. Smells like clean fuel is coming through, so that's good. All right, let's go find some fuel hose. Okay, what we have here is a bit of EFI hose off a Holden Camaro that's out in the yard. So yes, the Holden Camaro is going to be very useful in this car. So it's still a bigger diameter than what we should use for a Carby, but it's going to be a lot better than whatever this is. So we can get rid of that, put a new hose clamp or a reconditioned hose clamp onto here, tighten her up, and then let's give it a go. Now, I did test the fuel just off camera here, and it is the fresh stuff is starting to come through the lines now. It's a lot less yellow in color and it smells a lot less like varnish, which is fantastic. The screwdriver's a bit too big for this job, but don't lose my finger, don't lose my finger. Get that on nice and tight, and then we'll put a little bit of aero start down there. We have a much better flow with the tighter diameter hose than that blue one. All right, let's put some aero start down there and give that a go. All right, bit of a kick in the pants, get you started. All right. Okay, here we go, people. Where's the key? Really? That sounded healthy. That doesn't. Oof. All right, let's pull the plugs and clean them all up. See if that helps. Okay, so a few things have changed, and I mean, next time we do one of these wallet runs, let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see this sort of stuff or if it's just kind of boring. But what I've done is I've gone through, I've pulled all the spark plugs out, I've cleaned them all up, I've gapped them properly, we've dumped some fresh fuel down into the carby, plus we've disconnected all the fuel lines and just blown them back into the tank, make sure they're clear to try and build as much pressure as possible up into our carby here. So if you want to see that sort of stuff, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I just kind of skip over it because it's pretty just general maintenance, kind of taking care of business sort of stuff. So anyway, let's get into the action. Let's turn the key and hopefully we should be good. If this doesn't work, I'm going to be very perplexed. Doesn't help the starter motor keeps kicking out. I shouldn't have stopped that. That was good. Oh, come on. Well, now look at the mess we've created here. So, this brand new carb, which was just meant to work for us, has been sitting for so long with stale fuel in it, the fuel bowl is all gunked up. So what we were finding, after a very informative conversation with Peter Anderson, now please remember, I'm not that schooled up on carburetors, so I'm kind of learning as we go through this, which is really fun. We found that the needle and seat, where the fuel was going in here, the needle and seat that sits behind it, was most likely jammed because we could get fuel to this point, as you saw, but looking for our little sight glass down here, there was no fuel in the bowl. So pulled the top hat off to find out that yes, that is completely and utterly empty with a thick layer of gunk and gum down the bottom there. So let's put a bit of brake cleaner in there. We'll try to clean up as best we can. We'll pre-fill this with a bit of brake cleaner and a bit of fuel to hopefully get something flowing. We've taken, let's say, the needle and seat out, and we've cleaned all of that up. Well, there it is there, and the float. So now we'll just put it all back together, and as I say, we'll pre-fill that, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that will be our issue. Yeah, so we'll get fuel to the carb, but it wasn't actually going into it. So yeah, let's now tidy up my mess, pull it all back together, and now let's give it a crack, shall we? Okie dokie, everybody, carb is back together. Hopefully we've cleared out plenty of the junk. As for the actual needles of the parts, I then spray it into The barrels, I'm not sure if they're going to be too ganged up or not. We might have to fully pull it apart. But what we do is we have fuel down in the barrel. We have fuel in the hourglass in the bowl. So hopefully now we should start. We should run a bit longer, but will it draw fuel? Will it keep filling its own bowl? Let's see what happens. Well, that's a good start. Yeah, come on. All right, I am convinced that carb is not as new as we think it is. It has to come off and it has to be cleaned out. Damn it! Right, here we go. We've had some dinner, we've had a few drinks, we've messaged a few friends, and sometimes you really just need friends who have a fresh set of eyes who go, hey, have you checked X, Y, Z? And Graham was like, well, it seems to be firing fine when it's cranking. Just run a positive lead from the battery terminal to the positive on the coil. And then I remembered that when I took the resistor off the old coil and it had two leads going to it, one for cranking and one for when I was just running, I only connected one of them. And so obviously I've only connected the cranking one, not the running one. So yeah, I've now connected both of them to the positive terminal. Let's see what happens. Oh, excuse me. Ta-da! Hey, sounds like a sweet little sewing machine. That's idling perfectly. I don't adjust anything on the car. That is fantastic. So, again, when you're working on cars, get some mates. You need all walk up something. As sweet as it is to have it running, I don't have any coolant in there yet. I've got to change that oil. But there we go. She runs. Absolutely fantastic. So tonight we'll order a new starter motor, so hopefully we can stop that grinding and we haven't caused too much damage to the ring gear. We'll go ahead, we'll fill the coolant up, we'll get some fresh oil tomorrow so we can dump. Tomorrow's Sunday, so I won't be able to. Yeah, well, I'll have to wait till Monday now. Dump the oil, change that over, new oil filter, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, start organising some tyres for this old girl. That's absolutely amazing. This is, I say, my first kind of will it run video, and we stumble over a few simple things now. I'm sure a lot of you guys were screaming at the screen like, oh my god, it's the jets. Oh my god, it's the positive coil. Oh my god, it's this. But hey, we're all here to learn and we're all here to try new experiences. So that's a big part of what my channel is just trying new things. And I've never done this before. So yeah, anyway, let's end that there tonight. And we'll come back, as I say, in a couple of days, which will be a couple of seconds for you fellas. And yeah, change out that coolant, change out the oil, and let's see if we can get it rolling back and forth. Make sure the gearbox works in that. Awesome. See you soon. Well, who was seeing this coming? I am totally impatient and I really want to drive this car today after getting it running yesterday. So, a couple of things standing our way. Coolant, oil, and this tyre, which has completely debeaded itself. Well, coolant, that's all topped up, ready to go. Oil, screw it, it's got some, that's fine with me. But this tyre is a little bit hard to fix. But luckily, do you remember that spare that was in the boot of this thing? Well, it holds air, which is absolutely amazing considering it has a huge gash through here where it's just old and tired. It's definitely not a good tyre, but it'll get us around the paddock for today so we can test the brakes on this and see if we need to order any new discs, pads, shoes, anything like that. Anyway, let's get this up, get this on. I'll do that. You watch with the power of YouTube. Now, isn't that just amazing? It's already done. Right, let's go for a drive. Okie dokie, let's see how this goes. Hopefully the battery hasn't drained overnight. We still have reds, out of gear. Not bad, not bad. Definitely got an exhaust leak. We can't see anything out the window. All right, first gear. Let's go. It moves. That's a good start. Brakes. Oh, there are none. That pedal's just gone straight to the floor. Okay, you gotta push that hard. All right, what about handbrake? No, handbrake's up. We ain't got no handbrake either. Okay. Okay, the clutch is good. I keep throwing cameras all over the place. Brakes are no good, clutch is great. Oi, there we go. Okay, so accelerator is a little bit sticky, but it works. We're going good. All right, let's go for turning. Oh, we lost that camera. Oh well, just you guys now. This car's working. We're rolling. This is fantastic. Let's pump the brakes. There's definitely no brakes there, so we need to at least bleed those to start with. There's no handbrake. She's a bit of a rock and roll vehicle, but you know, we're cruising along in second gear. This is going good. Look at that. This is my view at the moment. Very safe and controlled. It's fantastic. We did the thing. It's working, and it's working great. Obviously, I don't want to go too fast or too hard because A, the brakes do not work whatsoever, not even a handbrake, and B, that battery is still just sitting in there, and I'm a bit worried that the terminals are a bit close to the top of the bonnet, the bottom of the bonnet, I should say. So we'll just putz around the field here. I'm absolutely stoked. This is fantastic. This is my first time doing a will it run, and well, yes it will. This Daihatsu Rocky 1985 will run indeed. And it runs good. Fuel gauge doesn't though. Now I don't know if the temperature gauge works or not, but you know, we're third gear now. This is fantastic. Alright guys, so we're going to leave it there for this episode. Thank you so much for joining us. Leave your comments below so if you enjoyed this or you didn't. Yeah, the more we do, the better I get. And so I've got a few more of these lined up, so let us know if you want to see more of those. Anyway, we'll catch you guys later. Thank you so much for joining us. See you on the next one.